Can you guys hear me? Good morning, everyone. My name is Meletius Igbokwe, and I'll be speaking on Bring Your Own Bridge, managing your own artificial intelligence risk in the cloud. Before I proceed, I would like to confirm how many of us are using AI either as personal use or within our workplace? Even myself as well. All right. So how many of us know the type of AI we are using? What can anyone just give me any names at all which they use in their place of work? Okay. Which one? OpenAI. Anyone at all? Any other person? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Before I go on, so I would like to explain what BYOAI means. So this simply means bring your own artificial intelligence, just as we have, bring your own device. Traditionally, when it comes to managing our devices, within our enterprise environment. And so what this talk is all about is about how meaningful, employees, people use artificial intelligence just to boost their productivity and then, streamline processes within their workplace without knowing that there are so many risks, involved using these tools without the right compliance, risk assessments, governances, and putting their organization in risk. So I'll be talking about how we can manage these tools to achieve our work, boost productivity, and also ensuring compliance and then safeguarding our data from being compromised. Before I proceed, I would like to talk about the popular tools, AI tools, which we use today. So as we can see, almost since for the past 2 years now, almost everyone has started, developing AI tools every now and then. And the recent ones which we are popularly aware of are these ones like ChatGPT. Everyone knows ChatGPT. Myself, I use it. The Copilot, which Microsoft developed, which is integrated with Microsoft 365 to boost productivity within workplace. And we have the Cloud AI for our software developers, guys who are here. So Cloud is mostly used in, code reviews, technical evaluations, or anything that has to do with technical requirements. So Cloud is your guy. And then we have the Croc. I don't know if we are aware of Croc, but I think if you use S, which is formerly known as Twitter, so you should be able to know Croc because it integrates with Twitter so much in the sense that it analyzes, people's data within Twitter or X, as you might want to call it, which is the recent name. So what Croc uses, so the use of Croc is it helps to analyze and get information within the platform. And what I want to talk about these tools is, in as much as they help us to streamline our work and then, make us more productive in our environment, there are some risks and concerns, using these tools in our environment, especially if we are using it to integrate into our technology stacks. So it could be we kind of want to use it to maybe evaluate our documents. We want to use it to, check in codes that we want to use to run in, just to maybe want to use to maybe develop our systems or anything that has to do with workplace. So there are some governances that a lot of organizations are not, really following, which are very, very important and which leaves a lot of organizations open to getting compromised. And this is where it is really, really important that we need to ensure that before we use all these tools, there are some sort of user education and also awareness about how these tools should be used. And we also need to ensure that we are covering about the data access, retention policies, integration scope. How are we integrating all of this with our environment and our technology stacks? Now, another thing I want to speak about is ChatGPT, because a lot of us use ChatGPT, but what most of us don't understand is that the free version of ChatGPT, the information we put on are being used to improve the model. And now this is where it is, a little bit scary. So imagine that you're using ChatGPT to, let's say, you want to improve your business, maybe process or vendor's requirement, and you're bringing everything about your organization and putting it in ChatGPT, and maybe you're using the free version. You're just helping them to improve their models by giving your business idea to use as a knowledge base for them. And although they said, there could be some sort of differences with the paid version, but then we also need to be very careful of what we give, even if they said, okay, the paid version is different. But this is where we need to be very, very, very careful and know the type of informations we are, putting in. And the key concern about all of these things is that there is a recent study that shows that there is 75% of adoption with AI tools, especially within the enterprise / small, medium individuals, but only 30% have formal policies on how to use this to make sure that they are not getting their data not compromised, they are not being fined by ISO, they are following all the security standards that are required for the business to work as expected. So here on this slide I'll be talking about the real world breach cases, and I'll be going through with the recent one which almost all of us are aware about, with the DeepSeek incident that happened sometime last year in 2024. The problem wasn't about the tool, it was about how the data were being collected. So what happened was that because of how good the tool was, and because it was a little bit cheaper when compared with other AI tools around the western region, so a lot of people thought that it was good, and then a lot of organizations integrated their work processes, the APIs, connected all of the systems without appropriate governance. And the problem was that it was after some time, some security researchers noticed that this data that were being filled inside this tool were actually used to understand how organizations are building their environment, how they are using to build their ideas, technology, and which was a very big, huge concern. And this is where appropriate compliance, risk assessments, access control come to play, because if all of these were in place, this could have been easily been avoided. Another one is about the incident that happened at Samsung, where it was noticed that some of Samsung employees were uploading meeting recordings and some codes used to develop some of the systems, and it was such, and I think this happened using ChatGPT, and it was very concerning, because for them, they want to boost productivity, they want to help the business to go to the apex, but what they didn't understand is that there is risk of putting the business in so much problem that could either for them lose and also cause the customers from losing and trust and maybe getting fined as well. So, and this is where we need to make sure that users are being trained, and also they are being aware of the type of data they feed in, because I know that everyone wants to ensure that they are being seen as working hard, and then also being seen as improving businesses processes, maybe automating the whole things, but there are key things that really misses, and which can put everyone in problem. And this is why Amazon noticed that some of the employees as well were using some AI assistance tools to write some meetings, to write some financial reports, even with the banks, and they had to make sure that there were some policies to stop that from happening. So, and this is what we are talking about, and this is why it is important that everyone needs to make sure these tools are being compliant, they meet all the security standards that are required for the industry before integrating within your workplace. So when using these tools, there are important things that we need to ensure that these tools meet up before we proceed in adopting them. Now, the big challenge here is that at the moment, there is no standardized compliance security standard for mesh for AI, I would say, because I don't think at the moment there is any standardized security standard that could check the model, the type of model these AI tools are using, the prompt injection vulnerabilities, or where these data are being stored or where they are being processed. And this is why we need to ensure that the current standards which are actually invoked are being utilized to ensure we are being, we are safeguarded from being compromised from, in our data, and also users as well. And this is where, for financial financial institutions, it is very important that you check across these tools to ensure that at least they are certified with SOC 2 or ISO 27700. You need to also understand, where is the data being processed. You need to ask some questions. Where are they being processed? If I request for my data to be deleted, can that happen, upon my request? You need to understand what type of models are they using to analyze this data. And for health sector, so this is where HIPAA needs to come to place as well, to ensure that all these frameworks which are being laid are being met. GDPR, you need to know what security or framework governing the country are they using to analyze people's data. So all of these things need to come to place, and this is where we need to understand our data, the data handling, how our data are being handled, how the processing location, where our data is being stored, the retention, how long are these data being stored when we make this request, when we put in our prompts, when we feed AI the information, because most of them use what we give them to train the models. So we need to ensure that all of these things are being covered before we onboard them to our environment. Another thing that could be a sort of concern is the geographic concern, the locations, and also the legal jurisdictions as well. So, and lastly, the most important thing again is ensuring that some of these tools have a good access controls that are auditable. We also ensure that there is a single sign or multi-factor authentications that we can use to make sure we are actually being protected. Now, so I'm going to be a little bit brief here about the implementation of best practices. So first of all, we need to carry out comprehensive risk assessment of the tools that we bring in. Then there are some good tools like Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps that could give you an overview of the posture of any tool you want to integrate within your environment. So you want to check with the Microsoft Cloud App Defender solution. So that's an example I'm going to use. So you can confirm if this tool meets the cybersecurity requirement, the standards. Also check the compliance risk scores and all of that. So all of this would help you to manage this effectively and also control users' access using these tools. So lastly, I'm going to conclude that with all of these solutions in place, making sure we have the visibility to the tools we bring in our environment, the policy, we have good policies, and user education, not really telling them just by the word, word of mouth, but actually having a demo where you use sandboxes to show them how they can effectively use AI in the environment, and also using good controls such as just-in-time access and enough access, just to ensure that users' access are being revoked just exactly at the time you have set it, and also making sure that you have enough access to do what they need to do. Thank you. Is there any question?
Any questions? Or all good? Good? All right, cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, cool. Yeah. There's your card.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, thanks.